Tonight, this is our first national call of 2026, y'all. That's something to celebrate in and of itself, right? All of us coming together here tonight, and as we start this year, um, starting it out to try to get clear, right, and connected, and committed, and competent, our four C's. And our national calls, which are the fourth Thursday of the month, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, are really focused on the concrete ways that we are organizing on the ground as the Nonviolent Medicaid Army. So they're a really good way to kind of plug in and get connected. We are a network. We are a network of different kinds of organizations and formations across the country, but we share some things in common, some very, very important things. And one of the things that we're all engaged in together is something called the Medicaid Cutoffs Organizing Drive, our Medicaid and our SNAP organizing drives. And these organizing drives are about organizing at the point of survival and organizing those who are on or excluded from Medicaid and SNAP. After all, we're the Nonviolent Medicaid Army, right? We're organizing people who are on or excluded from Medicaid and SNAP. And when we talk about the 140 million people in this country, we know from the Poor People's Campaign who are poor or near poor, that's almost half of this country. And then there's millions more who are just one paycheck away, one healthcare crisis away, one housing crisis away, one climate crisis away from poverty. And when you look at that 140 million and then all of those other millions too, that's exactly the Nonviolent Medicaid Army, right? All of us, all of those folks are on or unfairly excluded from Medicaid and SNAP. So this is a massive, massive army that's out there that we're organizing. So we're going to talk about how we're doing that tonight. I want to start off with some history. And raise your hand or put up an emoji or put something in the chat if you were part of the first Saturday school this year on MLK's last years, learning from MLK's last years, building a nonviolent army of the poor. So that's how we started out in January, right, when we celebrate MLK Day. And this is one of the quotes that we looked at from that session. And so actually I'll go to you, Jacob, if you would like to come off mute and read this quote, please.
Sure. All right. Where do we go from here? 1967. We made easy gains and we built the kind of organizations that expect easy victories and rest upon them. It may seem curious to speak of easy victories when some have suffered and sacrificed so much. Yet, in candor and self-criticism, it is necessary to acknowledge that the torturous job of organizing solidly and simultaneously in thousands of places was not a feature of our work. Many civil rights organizations were born as specialists in agitation and dramatic projects. They attracted massive sympathy and support, but they did not assemble and unify the support for new stages of struggle to move to high levels of progress. We will have to have people tied together in a long-term relationship instead of evanescent enthusiasts who lose their experience, spirit, and unity because they have no mechanism that directs them to new tasks.
Thank you very much, Jacob. That was awesome. This is a really deep quote, and it's, part of a larger text. But this piece in the middle that is underlined, yet in candor and self-criticism, it is necessary to acknowledge that the torturous job of organizing solidly and simultaneously in thousands of places was not a feature of our work. This is what we learned about in the first Saturday school, the strengths and weaknesses that King reflected on. when he started moving from the civil rights movement to the human rights movement of the Poor People's Campaign, and he did some self-criticism, right? And some real reflection on the movement. This is very important. It's important for us to continuously do that. And we want to learn from this. We don't want to start over. We don't want to make the same mistakes again. We want to make new mistakes. So, in candor and self-criticism, it is necessary to acknowledge that the job of organizing solidly and simultaneously in thousands of places was not a feature of our work. Well, we have organized the Nonviolent Medicaid Army around the practice that we are organizing solidly and simultaneously in thousands of places. And we're not just organizing what he says at the bottom, evanescent enthusiasts, right? We are bringing people together and tying them together in a long-term relationship and building a mechanism that can direct them to new tasks, right? And unify the support, for new stages of struggle to move to higher levels. So we're trying to pick up where that was left off, and we have been, right? That's what we're doing. So we got to go back. We got to look back in order to understand, what do we come from and where do we pick up that call at the end of his life that he made and that was unfulfilled, right? After he was executed by the state. So yeah, we can keep going. Thank you so much. I've got one more quote here. Bruce, do you want to take this one? Can you see it?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Nijmi. There are millions of poor people in this country who have very little or even nothing to lose. If they can be helped to take action together, they will do so with the freedom and a power that will be a new and unsettling force in our complacent national life. Martin Luther King.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bruce. So this is like one of our credos, right, in the Nonviolent Medicaid Army. I think about this quote every single day, and I encourage us all to honestly to memorize it, to memorize this quote and call it up, as you really think about your purpose and as you think about what is it that's getting you up out of bed every day. Um, this is such an important idea and concept, and it is our guiding principle. So let's keep going. This is just the grounding, right, for us to start talking about this organizing drive. And I want to start by saying that the organizing drive did not start under Trump. Let me say it again. The organizing drive did not start under Trump. The organizing drive started under Biden. During the COVID pandemic, which is still here, of course, but at the height of the pandemic, there were protections put in place, guaranteed enrollment, continuous enrollment, which meant that we didn't have to jump through hoops and prove that we were worthy of health care. We had continuous enrollment. And so enrollment grew by 23% over the course of the pandemic, the closest thing we've probably ever had in this country to universal health care during the pandemic, and Medicaid for all. But then, you can go to the next one. We had what we call the Great Medicaid Purge. Now, forces aligned with the party system called it the quote unquote unwinding. You might have heard of that term, which is a sanitization, a false narrative of cutting people off of healthcare. So you'll notice that the date on this story is August 19th, 2024. It says Medicaid removed for nearly 25 million Americans. So our Medicaid cutoffs organizing drive, we started to prepare in 2022, and then we launched it on April 1st, 2023, which is when this purge began. And you see that just about a year and a half later, 25 million people had been cut from healthcare. It wasn't necessarily treated like the national emergency that it really was because of um, the political dependence of so many out there. But luckily, we are politically independent. And so we began to organize. And that's why we already are prepared for what is coming in the big, beautiful bill for billionaires. And we actually know already the stakes in the cuts that are coming under that, under this administration. So the Medicaid cutoffs organizing drive is about organizing at the point of survival. And there are few folks here who are part of the Young Organizers Survival Corps that the Kairos Center is doing. And you've just gotten back from a boot camp or you're about to go to a virtual boot camp where you talked about the Johnny Tillman model of organizing. And the Nonviolent Medicaid Army is putting in place the Johnny Tillman model of organizing today. And that model is organized around this question of organizing at the point of survival, organizing around our survival struggles. And some of the tactics of this drive that we're going to talk about tonight are Medicaid signups and appeals, and also I would add SNAP to that. So signing people up, but also appealing when people get cut. Everyone has the legal right to an appeal. A lot of people don't know that. People's clinics. These are free health clinics that we organize for a day, for half of the day, for the afternoon, where we do health screenings. We sign people up for Medicaid and SNAP and other benefits. We help people appeal. And we share our stories. We get people access to resources, and we invite them to join our movement. Medicaid Mondays, every single Monday since April 1st, 2023, across this country, we have been sharing our stories. This is a living document of this crime against humanity that has cut millions of people off of life-saving care and led to death. Led to death. And we're quantifying how many deaths that really is. We have turned these stories into massive quilts that we use in our actions. It's very powerful. So this is one of our processes. This is one of our tactics. And storytelling is an entry point into our movement. In the abolitionist movement, the movement to end slavery, when folks would come up and get to a vigilance committee, get to a safe haven, one of the first things that they would do is to tell their story and it would be documented. That was their entry point. And this is how we take from that tradition and we feel that this is so important, right? We have to share what's going on with us. We have to break our isolation. We have to document what's happening to us. And we have to inspire other people through that, that they are not alone, that this is a problem that's shared by millions. It's not an individual problem. No one is going to understand that unless we tell our story. We engage in nonviolent direct action and we have call-in days. And there's so much more I could say about all of those, but we will share a lot more about that as we move forward. So I will just share a couple of images here from Medicaid appeals. And I want to say that this has been such an important tactic of this organizing drive. There's a lot of confusion and misunderstandings, right? Sometimes we're told to think or we're guided to think that, oh, well, you need a lawyer to do a Medicaid appeal, right? Like that's not something that we can just do. Or you need to have a special degree in order to do a Medicaid appeal. You have to be an expert to do a Medicaid appeal or a professional. None of that is true. I can tell you and I can testify, and there's many people here who can testify to the fact that we have learned how to do these appeals. Because heck, we have people, first of all, who've had to learn how to do it on their own. We have people who've worked in federally qualified health centers. We have people who work in the healthcare system, right? No one knows everything, but together we know a lot. That's one of our basic principles. So we have taught ourselves and we have learned and understood, how this works in different states. And we have turned Medicaid appeals into a really powerful tactic for our organizing drive. And we're going to hear, more about that as we continue. But these are just some pictures from Medicaid appeals because we don't do this as individuals. We do it collectively, right? This is an organizing tactic. This is a way of bringing people together to fight for and win our healthcare rights. So let's keep going. We'll see another picture here of Medicaid appeals. These are from different states and different situations. Go ahead, we can keep going. Another one is our projects of survival. We're going to have a Saturday school this year about the distinction between projects of survival and mutual aid, what's called mutual aid, and why we say projects of survival. Because we're drawing that legacy directly from the Black Panther Party, they are the people who started the free breakfast programs, they had free health clinics, and they talked about survival programs, right? Because the idea here is that we're working toward this transformation of society, but in order to get there, we have to survive and we have to help each other survive. But as we survive and help each other survive, we have to build our movement, right? And so there's a lot that goes behind this concept of projects of survival. There's a very specific reason we use that language. And we're going to have a whole Saturday school about that. But this is a very important aspect of our tactical plans is projects of survival, our people's clinics, our food distribution. And you saw some really beautiful examples of this in the Mishika tonight coming from United Workers in Maryland. You saw a bunch of different examples of their projects of survival. And this is our storytelling process, right? Our Medicaid Mondays. You see these beautiful images of Reverend Tani from Alabama, of Jeanette from Pennsylvania. Behind Jeanette, you see the Medicaid quilt. We do this every single Monday. We invite everyone here to participate in this. This isn't just a social media campaign. Once again, this is an entry point for us to bring folks in, and we use these and mobilize this information to ensure that we're holding all power holders accountable and they can never say that they didn't know. This is, like I said, this is a living document of hundreds and now thousands of stories on the healthcare crisis. And we need to continue to do this. So again, I'll go back to that King quote, right? Of organizing solidly and simultaneously in thousands of places. And so we are a base building network. The Nonviolent Medicaid Army is building membership, right? Moving from mobilization to organization and building permanently organized communities across geography. So I'll just finish by lifting up a couple of things just to round us out. So some key themes of the organizing drive. Just think about how we approach this, right? What is the whole purpose of this organizing drive? What are the messages of this organizing drive? Well, one is you are not alone, and this is not your fault. Your situation is shared by millions of people, right? This is what we're trying to communicate through this organizing drive and through these tactics. Another thing that we're trying to communicate is this invitation, right? Join us. There's something that we can do about it, right? You don't have to feel like there's nothing that you can do. It's hopeless. Join us. There's something that we can do about it. And then let's take action together, stay connected, and get organized. These are the basic kind of ideas that we are communicating through the use of these tactics over and over and over and over again, right? Hey, share your story with Medicaid Mondays. Oh, you got cut off from Medicaid? Guess what? You have the right to an appeal and we can help you. Hey, we're having a people's clinic. Come, do a health screening, and next time come and help us set it up, right? And then we keep going. So here's some ways to use the organizing drive, because this is about taking action together. This is about this King quote, right? There are millions of poor people in this country with little or even nothing to lose. If they can be helped to take action together, they will do so with the freedom and a power that will be a new and unsettling force in our complacent national life. So this organizing drive is about taking action together. And you know how our people are, you know how the working class is. People want to know, what are we going to do, right? What are we going to do? So this is what this organizing drive is about. It's about having an answer to that question, right? Because this isn't all we need to do. We need to study, right? We need to build relationships. We need to do all kinds of things. But we need to give people something they can hold on to and start with. So we use the organizing drive to reach and connect to our base, to build from scratch and build up your core and develop leaders, right? In order to start in a new place or to start a new chapter of an existing organization, you have to have a core of clear and competent and committed and connected leaders. So you've got to develop them, right? From just coming into contact and finding people. So this organizing drive helps you to do that. It helps you to build organization and power, even starting small. There's a lot of power in winning someone's Medicaid appeal. And you can win a Medicaid appeal with 4 or 5 people acting collectively. And then those 4 or 5 people are like, wow, we won something. We did something. Let's go, right? Let's get some more people on board. How many more people can we win appeals for? So you can do something very significant. You're changing someone's life by winning their Medicaid back. And you can do that with a small number of people. It's very powerful. It shows that concrete actions and victories are possible. And the organizing drive can help our formations get to the next stage of development. So this is how to use the organizing drive. And I'll just give one brief example from Pennsylvania, and then we're going to go into hearing from people across the country because I'm definitely at my time. So we found out from the Department of Human Services in Pennsylvania that when people were filing Medicaid appeals on their own, their success rate was less than 1%. The state was ruling against their appeals more than 99% of the time. But we, in our organizing drive, when we appealed collectively as a tactic in the Medicaid cutoffs organizing drive, our success rate of winning healthcare back and winning Medicaid back for our people was 93%. So after that great purge, when we engaged in this and filed appeals all throughout 2023 and 2024, our success rate was 93%. And we can do that. We can do that in many, many, many places. That's what this is about. All right, I'm going to pass it on to our folks so we can hear from a lot of other voices and continue to be inspired and uplifted. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about some of our resources we have as a part of the Medicaid Cutoffs Organizing Drive. And I want to share a saying that our greatest resource is our leaders. And I want to say this actually a couple times. Our greatest resource is our leaders. We really mean this, right? And think about all of the resources that it takes to organize. We need many resources to organize, right? We do grassroots fundraising. We're all here tonight, right? Because we're tuning in on a phone or a computer. Organizing takes transportation, right? But our greatest resource among all these resources, our greatest resource is our leaders. We really mean that. And so these resources we have for the Medicaid Cutoffs Organizing Drive that will be shared in the chat. Before you go looking in the resources, I just want you to hear me out here. These resources, these handbooks, these guides, they're the result of many people taking action and learning. We say the struggle is a school. So these resources, these things that we're doing, they haven't come down from some expert who's in some think tank telling us what to do. It's come from us and our experience. So when we talk about the tactics, the things we do for the Medicaid Cutoffs Organizing Drive, Medicaid appeals, Medicaid Mondays, call-in days, people's clinics, right? You can do it. We actually need you to do it. So the tactics, and I'm not sure if they've been shared in the chat. I definitely want folks to have access to some of these handbooks. We've created many handbooks and guides over the years. Think about, before you go looking through these tactics, right? Think of them as a refresher, right? These handbooks are here for you to look back to remember, okay, what exactly am I going to do? What's the process here? What do I need to know, right? But the way you're going to learn how to take these actions is by doing it. And also by talking with people who have done it. So when I say our leaders are our greatest resource, being part of the Nonviolent Medicaid Army means that you're connected to leaders, right? This is a place where you can reach out and learn and get guidance about how to take these actions. So if you meet someone that's denied health care, we can take action. Just know that. Anyone who's denied health care, like, we can take action. And that's what we do. That's what we're about. We're not just trying to understand this problem and track this problem as it gets worse and worse. We're trying to stop it and change it. So my advice to everyone is, don't be shy about getting in a fight. Like, we got to get in lots and lots of fights. Don't be shy, and we can get in fights, right? Think about how powerful it would be to say to someone you meet, like, hey, I'm connected to the Nonviolent Medicaid Army. That's really messed up what's happening to you. Let's do something about it. Even if you don't know exactly what to do, right? You can tell them, I'm going to talk to some people and, like, let's figure out what we can do about this. Even if you lose that fight, think about it this way. Whether or not you win or lose these fights, if we're developing leaders, we win. That's what's going to win healthcare as a human right for everyone, forever. So the key thing in everything we're doing is our connection, right? So don't get tripped up about, well, I don't know exactly how it's going to go or what every step is going to be, because we have each other, right? And the people that we're meeting through this process, they're going to appreciate you just being by their side in this fight. And that's what these tactics are about. So, feel free to reach out to anyone in the Nonviolent Medicaid Army, and we can connect you to someone to talk, right? And to plan things together. So our greatest resource is our leaders, and we have a lot of stuff written down too, based on our experiences. Thank you.